Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. So today, students, I welcome you all in the first lecture of demography, population dynamics, and health. Today we will be beginning this chapter. This is a small chapter. It will probably take 1 to 2 lectures to finish the discussions and the conceptual framework of this very important part of community medicine or public health. And inshallah, I was unable to upload my lecture on Wednesday because of my some personal commitments and some health issues. Inshallah, I will be I this lecture is making up for the lecture that has not been uploaded on Wednesday, on the last Wednesday, and the next lecture will be uploaded on the coming Wednesday. So the course covered till next Wednesday will be included in your test. Hope you are preparing your test well, because this test will hold significant effect on your internal assessment and your practical examination, because the impression that you will cast through performing in this test will eventually lay base for your passing through Viva examination. Because in my practice I have seen that people or students do not usually perform well in their Vivas. So the major deciding factor for me to pass them is through their internal assessment. If their internal assessment is good enough, I do not hold them back, and I clear them despite their poor performance in Viva examinations, in practical examinations, in prof. So in this regard, I will expect you guys to meticulously prepare for the test. All right, so let's begin with the discussion of demography. So we have already discussed in details in our previous lectures in the start of the module of community medicine that we, as the specialist in community medicines, deals with the health of the communities and the societies. Now, before pronouncing upon dealing with the health of communities and the societies, the first and the foremost thing is that we need to know about the structure, composition, size of our community, where it is located, how many people are there in the community. Unless and until you have this information, only then you will be able to plan health services for the communities and prepare for the special focus on the vulnerable status of that community. Now, the study of communities, the study of populations is known as demography. Basically, demography deals with three basic phenomena. And what are these phenomena? These phenomena is, first of all, size of your population in terms of growth or decline in population size. Then the second phenomena is composition of the population. And the third phenomena is distribution of the population in space, that where it is located. Now, composition of population means that how many males, how many females, how many people in old age, how many people in youth, how many people in as infants, as preschool children, as school-going children, as adolescents, as mothers or women in reproductive age, how many people are working, how many people are literate. These all aspects of the communities or societies should be well known to a public health physician or a community health expert. Only then he will be able to decide for communities that what are the needs of the community, so that it can plan health services accordingly. Now, the scientific study of populations in terms of its births, sickness, morbidity, deaths, mortality, population movements, that is migration, both immigration and immigration, that is movement into the population and movement out of the population, and other processes like marriages, social mobility, abortion rates, divorce rate, etc., is known as demography. Now, these all aspects will influence the decisions made by a community health expert or a public health expert. How? If births are getting more and there is more burden on the health, on the overall resources of the community, a community health physician will prepare for or will plan for family planning services, and in the same context it will also create more mother and child healthcare units where there is a provision of safe sound delivery, proper antenatal checkups, and well baby clinics where growth monitoring and vaccination of the children can be accomplished. So I am just talking in with one aspect, that how the knowledge of births or fertility in a community can affect the decision of a community health expert. Likewise, morbidity and mortality, if one knows about what are the prevailing diseases in the community and how many people are succumbing to the various mix of the diseases in the community, and what are the specific mortality rates due to that, due to those diseases, a community health expert will be able to plan the health services accordingly. For example, if you find that there is a prevalence of malnutrition in a community health expert will definitely work towards improvement of nutrition in the communities in general, as well as creation of treatment centers where malnourished people can be effectively treated. Now, with these two things, and with population movements, migration and immigration, the community health expert can help this knowledge into his practice by keeping into account the growing or the declining size of the population, the leaving of youth of that community to outside, or the influx of workforce labor into the community, so that occupational health services can be designed likewise. And the immigration or the migration population movements is also important in the context, as you have just learned in the settings of corona pandemics, that how quarantine and isolation became the first and the foremost tool in curtailing epidemic or reducing the impact of epidemic. So the information of population migration or population movement is also pivotal in the response to certain diseases to check its spread. All right. Now, scholars often focus on subtopics like teenage fertility, immigrant fertility, infant fertility, and maternal mortality. All these topics are covered in the domain of demography. Now, composition of population. How do we what you call define population in terms of its composition? First of all, ethnicity. How many, for example, Muslims are there? How many blacks are there, how many whites are there, how many Asians are there, how many Latins are there, how many Hispanics are there. So ethnicity is an important stratifying factor in terms of composition of population. Then we have age. Age is very important. How many children are, how many people are infants, how many are in preschool years like 1 to 4 years, how many are in school going years like 4 to 14, how many are in adolescence phase, that is 14 to 19, how many are in active youth, that is 14 to 44, and then how many are post youth phase, that is aging population, that is more than 44 years of age. So these all aspects are and then we have sex, which is a very important factor in defining composition of population, that how many males we have, how many females we have, what is gender distribution, what is sex ratio. This is a very important aspect of composition of population. Then distribution, how many people are living in rural populations, how many are urban, how many have suburban dwellings, also how many citizens live overseas, because this information is pivotal in arranging or planning or administering health services in a community, or promoting health and preventing diseases. So this information is also of first and foremost importance. And then about growth, whether the population is growing, and if it is growing, is it a rapid growth or is it a slow growth, or population is declining, means birth rate is lower than the death rate, which is you find in Central European countries like Germany, France, etc., where birth rate is less than death rate. And even in these communities, the coming issue is that of high dependency in old age, and the shrunken youth labor force, that population that can work and actively engage in economics or economic productivity of a nation. Now, population is affected by fertility, mortality, and migration rates. So three main things we can summarize demography into is fertility, that is birth rate; mortality, that is death rate; and then migration rates. So the whole population dynamics revolve around these three major factors. Now we have this demographic equation, which is initial population plus births minus deaths in brackets plus immigration minus immigration in brackets will give you the final population. This equation is an important university question, so I will suggest you guys to have special focus on this equation that is not given in your park probably, so I have included in the slides so you can benefit from the lecture. Now, age 6 composition of a population depicted by a population pyramid. Young population, pyramid is triangular. Aging population, pyramid becomes more and more rectangular. Now, young population, percentage of total population under age 15 is high. Median age is as low as 15 or 16 due to high fertility. Now, this is classic age pyramid. This side of the pyramid shows males. This side for the pyramid shows females. Each bar in the age pyramid, as you can see here, reflects a certain age group. For example, this first bar shows age group 0 to 4. Next shows 4 to say 14. Next shows 14 to 24, and next shows 24 to 34, and so on. Now, if the base of the pyramid is larger, it will show that population is largely composed of children, and if the top of the pyramid is larger while the base is not that broad, that means that population consists of more of the aging population. So we will discuss such pyramids one by one. Now, see this pyramid, we see that most of the population is under the age of 20 years, which shows that high birth rate in a community, and it also depicts that dependency ratio in this community is high, because you have a larger proportion of under 4 children, and then the next largest proportion is under 10 to 14 years of age. So it shows that in this kind of population, if you are to administer and plan health services, which kind of health services would you plan? You will first of all go for maternal and child health services, preschool services, adolescent health services, plus you will ensure family planning in eligible couples, and you will also ensure good counseling for birth control. On the other hand, you are finding that older age groups are lower, which means that health services in that community are not that good, and the average life expectancy is lower. So in this pyramid, you will also look forward towards geriatric health services, which can help in prolonging life of individuals. Now, while discussing this pyramid, I will also refer to the fact that after few years, this bigger population will turn into youth. So in the coming time, this is known as demographic opportunity, when you have a larger amount of what you call youth, which can help you in economic development or can add to the economic growth of a nation. So the governments or the planners or the stakeholders should plan so that they can effectively use this coming youthful energetic population and can make them an effective component of the economy. All right. Now in contrast to this, we have this kind of pyramid. Now in this pyramid, you can see that older populations are also higher in percentage or proportion as compared to the younger age groups. Now rather you can see that younger age groups are what you call lesser in proportion as compared to the youth or the older age groups. This means that these communities have taken their populations into the stage where the birth rate is low and death rate is also low, and population pyramid is more of a rectangular, and this is 2017 United States of America as compared to the Nigeria, where population pyramid is still triangular. All right. So this is also an important university questions. These questions are usually asked, such pyramids are given and you are asked to comment. Now we have discussed that which kind of health services you will be planning for your population with triangular population pyramids, and for rectangular pyramids you will see to it that you will have more of a geriatric population, so you will have to look for the ways and strategies where you can preserve the health of aging population. You will have to create old age homes and you will have to give incentives to the population so that they can reproduce more in terms of ease and incentives for reproduction, for marriage grants, for special scholarships if they be a children, so that in the coming years they have enough of the workforce that is needed for the sustenance of the economy of that nation. All right. So previously we did not used to discuss the importance of the future time where youth or the energetic workforce is needed for the economic development of a nation. But nowadays, because those countries who about 15 or 20 years back who were very strongly implementing birth control laws, for example in China, is now suffering from workforce shortage because these these nations are not having enough workforce for the economic sustenance of that country. So it is very important that you should also comment upon this very important factor. Now, elderly rises from 5% to more than 20% of the population, due mainly to low fertility, for example, Japan and Singapore. Young old versus old. More and more elderly women. More chronic and degenerative diseases. Multiple health problems are common in elderly people. Now, demographic transition. Demographic transition is a very important and pivotal concept of demography. It is one of the major university questions, and you are usually asked about demographic transition one way or the other. Either you are asked about one of the stages, or you are asked to make a figure or a diagram showing demographic transition. Now, demographic cycle or a demographic transition basically refers to the change from high rates, that is high birth rate and high death rate, to the lower rates, that is lower birth rates and lower death rates in a community. Now, how does it happen? death rates drop before birth rates. Therefore, there is a period of rapid population growth, and this ends when birth rates finally drop. Now, how it occurs, we will see it one by one. Now, the first stage is high stationary stage. Now, this stage is characterized by a high birth rate and a high death rate, which cancels each other, and the population remains stationary. ठीक है. अब what happens in this, it refers to the old age period when health services were not good, so there were high death rates in all stratas of the age groups. For example, high infant mortality, high under 5 mortality, high maternal mortality, high infectious diseases related, जो कि age disease specific death rates, and even they are high because health of the community, health services are not good enough. It was what you call development of vaccines, and the time that was earlier than development of vaccines and medicines and antibiotics, etc., when there was high death rate and there was high birth rate. People used to produce more kids, but there was high death rate, so it used to cancel each other's effect, and the net population used to remain very less. So it was high stationary rates थे, but population was less. Now, the second stage is early expanding. In early expanding, what happens? The death rate begins to decline while the birth rate remains unchanged. Now, with the advent of antibiotics, vaccine, and other medical facilities, death rate has started to decline, but birth rate is almost constant. Now, if you look towards your previous generation, the generation of your mothers and fathers, you will see that every they have at least 7 to 8 siblings on an average. You have खालाएँ, मामू, 7-8 जो है ना टोटल आप लोगों के ये ननियाली फर्स्ट रिलेटिव्स बन जाते हैं. और अगर आपने ददियाल की तरफ देखें तो 5-6 आपके जो है ना ताया और फुफियाँ सब कुछ मिला के इतने बहन भाई हैं. ठीक है. अब ये देखें, इसमें बर्थ रेट ज़्यादा है, मगर आपको ये पता चलेगा कि मतलब इस जनरेशन के अंदर आपकी नानी और आपकी दादी को जो बच्चे पैदा हुए उनमें अमवात नहीं हुई. सब मैटरनल मोर्टेलिटी, इन्फेंट मोर्टेलिटी, अंडर 5 मोर्टेलिटी ज़्यादा नहीं थी एज़ कम्पेयर टू कि अगर आप अपनी नानियों और दादियों के बहन भाइयों के बारे में पूछें तो वो आपको बताएंगी कि 14 पैदा हुए और 14 में से सिर्फ 4 या 5 सर्वाइव हुए. ठीक है. तो और उसमें भी नानी दादी भी जो है वो आपकी माशाल्लाह हयात होंगी, और आप देखेंगे कि दे आर स्टिल अलाइव बिकॉज ऑफ द improvements in what you call medical facilities, chronic degenerative diseases like tuberculosis, diseases like STIs, diseases like diabetes and hypertension, diseases like cancers are most of the time treatable, and they help in prolonging life. So you will find that there is a decline in death rate, but the birth rate remains constant, so population rises. Now, in the third stage, which is also called late expanding stage, in this rate, death rate further declines further and the birth rate tends to fall. Still, the population continues to grow because the birth exceeds death. अब इसमें जो थर्ड स्टेज है, what is happening? Deaths are getting reduced. Births have also started to decline. For example, in your generation, your siblings are 4 maximum. 3 to 4 siblings. You have 3 to 4 siblings as compared to the your parents where they used to have 7+ siblings. Now the birth rate has declined, but death rate has drastically reduced, and there is increase in life expectancy, so the population remains expanding. This is third stage. Now the fourth stage that comes is low stationary. Low stationary, it refers to a low birth rate which you can see nowadays. When you guys are planning, you will just say that we will not go beyond 2 children or 1 children or 2 children at the most, because we have to take good care of them. We have to take good care of their education, their health, their lifestyle. So it will be, and plus we ourselves are very busy. We ourselves are careeristic people. We have to do specializations and this and that. girls will say that we have to join our specialization programs and other things, so we cannot go for larger number of kids, because it is a time consuming process. Rearing a child is pretty time consuming, so we cannot invest our time so much. Just 1 to 2 kids are good enough. Now this stage is known as low stationary stage, where births have also declined and death rate has also declined, so there is no population net growth in this phase. Now the next phase is known as declining phase. In this phase, birth rate further decreases than death rate. Now what is happening, that people are, due to improved lifestyles, they are developing chronic diseases like diabetes and hypertension. They are getting treated. Death rate is there, but birth rate has almost declined to a near zero level. You can find this kind of scenario in countries like Hungary and Germany, which are experiencing this stage, that their births have declined so much that their net population is decreasing. Their in population pyramids, their lower age stratas, like less than 14 years of age, are very small in number, because people are living, people are enjoying their lives, they are working, but they are not producing children. Rather, the states have to give incentive so that they can produce children. They are offering them honorariums and scholarships, they are offering them marriage grants, they are offering them maternity and paternity leaves of almost 1 to 2 years, so that they can produce children at mental ease, and they can focus on the rearing of children. So in these countries, health is what you call net population is declining. Now a very important concept is demographic trap. Demographic trap is that populations get trapped in third stage, where there is a decrease in there is a decrease in death rate, but birth rate is not decreasing. So